Hello and welcome back to the Life Writing Podcast. Nathaniel Terrell joins me in observance of National Life Writing Month. Hey Nate, how's it going?
Not bad, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good, brother. It's as the young folks say, and I've started to say it myself. It's Friday.
Friday.
National Life Writing Month. It kind of goes without saying, given lifewriting.com, the podcast, and the other mediums that I have. Life writing, as I like to remind people, the technical definition is the recording of memories and experiences with purpose, right? A lot of folks internalize that in several different ways, but how it usually comes to fruition, folks, they journal. They may write poems, right? We write poems. They write short stories and capture real experiences in a story type of form, an article, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to have you back on, Nate, because you've been burning it up, man. The first time we spoke, or maybe right before, I don't know if you had just released your first book or you were about to. So we can kind of marry up the dates on that and kind of see which one came forth. But I'm talking to an author, a poet, the whole nine, Nathaniel Terrell. You've been on the podcast. I'm welcoming you back, but you've been doing so much since we last met, man. So I just want you to introduce yourself to the folks who may not have seen you previously on this platform or any other one, because people need to know who you are. So can you share just a little bit about yourself, Nate?
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me back. You know what I mean? It's always a great time when we link up, man. I'm a poet, storyteller, and author. I'm author of 4 books, and I'm working on my 5th. I mainly write poetry, short stories, songs, and anthems. But I'm trying to get into little things. I got a little itch for a little bit of script writing. I did a couple short scripts, and it's like, okay, maybe I can do this. So I'm trying to add that to the repertoire. But other than that, I do spoken word videos for my YouTube, Instagram, X, and website.
Okay. I now have to make sure I have all of those social media handles so folks can follow and see what you're doing, obviously now, and what's forthcoming or what have you. There's just a lot going on in the creative stratosphere of things. Creativity, more and more people are starting to tap into their creative side because it allows for, oftentimes it allows for a release. So a lot of people are finding that life writing is good for the soul,
absolutely.
And it just helps to move you. It holds you in that particular time. So we can go on and on about that. But I wanted to know too, though, how did your desire to write in and of itself, specifically poetry, life writing, how did that come about?
Well, I mean, even as a child, I was a creative, but I didn't realize I was creative, if that makes sense. I was always writing, reading, in church and stuff. I was involved in plays and the groups and the sound and just different things, expressing myself. And then it lay dormant for years. And then at about, I want to say 08, 09, it awakened in me again. And during that time, I was going through a lot of pain. I was using it as therapy. I was using it really to, like you said, express myself and get out of a negative spot. But the more I did it, you know what I mean, the more that release came, the more of a hunger came to create. And I started seeing that I was decent at it. So I wanted to pursue it. So, yeah, I've been at this seriously since about 09.
So your books, as you mentioned earlier, and I'm missing one because you mentioned 4. I'm stuck on 3, but you're about to help me out with this, right?
Right. So, well, my very first book came out in 2014, and it's the publisher is now defunct, so you can't find the book anywhere. You might be able to find it on Abe's book, and it's called Here Goes Nothing. And yeah, that was my very first attempt, and that was a collection from 09 to 2013.
Okay.
It took about a year for it to be published. It was with a small publisher. It was great. Like I said, they're no longer in business, but it was cool, man. You know what I mean?
Okay. So the second one, So the second one is the first one that I bought, right?
Correct. And that was through my second publisher, but I only put out one book with them because it was through a vanity publisher. And it's like I can do better. And it wasn't anything against them. To me, vanity wasn't the way to go. I didn't have the money to really put into it. You know what I mean? Because when you do
Okay.
it, that subsidiary vanity, you have to pay. And you got to pay for promotion, you got to pay for publication. And I just ran out of money. It's like I can't I can't live and
Yeah.
sell this book. So I went the traditional route this time, and I'm still investing in myself, but it's good to have. I have a good publisher, Warrington Publishing. Michael Carson is his name, and he's really taught me like different algorithms, what Amazon does, a lot of stuff that are other publishers either didn't know or just didn't care to explain to me. And a lot of the promotion and stuff I do on my own, the marketing, I make my own videos.
Okay.
Except for the book trailers. My publisher did that because he's much better at that. But yeah.
Nice. Interesting. So okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing those tidbits. I'm gonna circle back with you offline about a couple of the things you just shared. Um,
Absolutely.
and that's another part of it too, myself included, for transparency. Folks don't understand that world. How do you get a book published? Let me back up. How do you identify the best publisher or publishing company, whatever, for you?
A lot of it, Chris, is trial and error. Like I had no
Yeah.
idea what I was doing. I just wanted to publish a book. And then the frustrating part is once you realize writing the book is the easy part, man. At least to me, it is. I mean,
I've
it
heard
took
that.
me a while to get comfortable with being on camera and so many. I mean, you know how it is when you're trying to create a video, you get right to the last and you get to that last 10 seconds and you bite your side of your tongue, or you know what I mean? You mispronounce a word and it's like, dog, I got to record all. Yeah. But I like it that way because I'd rather learn so that way I can do it myself than
Right.
pay somebody. Because you get all
Yeah.
these type of scammers too. Hey, I can guarantee you 1,000 sales if you send me 5. Come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And thanks for sharing it that way too. So your books, I know for the most part, at least, is a combination of poems and some short stories, but primarily collection of poems over certain period. So you care to share any snippet around that, the type of poetry or what have you each book presents?
It's really a broad spectrum. I tried
Okay.
Before the World Moves On, I put that was more reflection for me. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Because I honestly wanted to name it Midlife. You know what I mean? Because that's what stage I am.
I
But I'm
remember
like,
you mentioning that.
yes, sir. But then I was looking, and especially what's going on in this country, I'm like, man, times are changing. Books are being banned. They're trying to cancel free speech, all this. I'm like, let me get this out. And that was that I did Before the World Moves On. You know what I mean? Not that I'm saying anything crazy. It was just it went with the theme of the book, because I'm
Right.
46 now. And of course, I'm looking at life differently than I did 5-10 years ago. And
Right.
that's where Before the World Moves On comes in.
Wow. Okay. Now I have both. Your latest one, the one I don't have, what was that? Correct me on the terminology. The re-release. What is it called?
The re-release.
The re-release. Okay.
Yes.
I was right. So that's the one I don't have, but so I need to circle back and check that one out. So what is the primary difference of what's in the re-release compared to obviously the original?
The re-release is a bit more raw. You know what I mean? Is There Not a Cause talked about a lot, but I talk about, even more. I'm more comfortable. The style, when I first started, I leaned mostly on my rhyming. You know what I mean? Because that's what I was comfortable with, because I could put it, I hear it. Now I try to go with, more free verse, non-rhyming, just so I wanted to challenge myself. How can I tell a story? How can I write a good poem without rhyming, without doing what I'm comfortable with? So with Before the World Moves On, I really stepped out of my comfort zone.
Stepping out of your comfort zone is something that so many people struggle with in some form or fashion. Um, so, well, let's stay there for a quick second. Stepping out of your comfort zone for a creative, for specifically a writer, like what does that mean for you, or what did that mean for you at the time? That comfort zone from a creative perspective.
Well, for me, I had to. It's kind of like what you were saying earlier about you can't talk about it and you can't describe it unless you were there. You know what I mean? Unless you experienced it. So some of the things I were talking about, I'm like, yo, I have to lock in. You know what I mean? So I had to change up completely. I changed my diet up. I changed who I was hanging around with. I literally became like a hermit for about a year. All I did was work, stay at home. I got into the word heavy, got into exercise and tried to change the diet. I did a lot of fasting, and that changed my mind frame. And once my spirit was calm, I was able to, like I said, step out of my comfort zone, because I had been leaning on rhyming for pretty much my whole writing career. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
what if I can't do this? That was the first thing. What if you can't rhyme? And the first thing I thought of, okay, the challenge accepted. You know what I mean? So I wanted to get into deeper storytelling too. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I wanted to use bigger words. So I didn't go to college or anything. So this was my method. What I would do is when I would hear different big words or words I wasn't familiar with, I created a doc file. And on that file, the top said words to incorporate in next book. So every word I got that I didn't understand, I'd write it down, I'd get the definition. And every so often I'd go back to that list of words and I'd think, how can I incorporate this word in? And once I started doing that, getting the definitions, it start broadening my vocabulary. And once my vocabulary got broadened, it's like, okay, now I can really, you know what I mean, set this up. I don't have to lean on rhyming so much. I can just deal with storytelling. I still like to rhyme too, because that's one of my favorites, but I
Right.
feel confident now on my prose, free verse, you know what I mean? Still can't
Wow.
freestyle, but the free verse I can do.
No, that okay. No, that's interesting, man. That's it. So this month I'm also observing career development, um, and you struck a chord with just your the methodology that you use to, like you said, learn bigger words, more complex words or whatever, and
Mhm.
that's very telling, man. Thanks for sharing that. You just planting a seed with respect to something else that I'm kind of working on, if you will.
And
So
there was one more thing I just
yeah,
want to add to that I forgot, and it's very important because it
okay,
was something that bothered me for a long time. I had to cut back drinking because I was going between is there not a cause and before the world moves on. It was a trying time. And I was dependent on alcohol so much. And it was like, okay, for me to do this, I don't want to write this sloppy. I want to be sober. So I had to cut out, you know what I mean? I really had to cut out drinking. That was a big one. That really it opened. I always thought, you know what I mean, being inebriated brought creativity. And yeah, it can. But to me, last year, being sober-minded, that's when the creativity it really took off.
wow, no, that's huge for you to share that. But you're right, to have a clear mind, functioning in a manner that's really going to delve into the depths of your creativity and allow it to come out. You cannot have a cloudy mind. Your judgment cannot be cloudy when you
Mm-mm.
theoretically think about it. So to your point, brother, I I wholeheartedly agree with the reasoning to cut back, or in some days just cut it out altogether.
Mm,
So yeah, man, thanks for sharing that big time. Very
absolutely.
important. Very so. Nate, like, what's next on the creative horizon? You touched on a few things earlier. What's next?
I'm glad you asked. I'm applying for residencies at this point.
Oh,
I'm doing a lot of networking at this point because what I really want to do is put out spoken word albums. I was looking at Audible and I just can't see putting that much work in to Amazon Audible and getting, me such a low share. So I'd rather split the book up, honestly, and maybe do some spoken word albums. But that's down the road. Right now I'm looking for residency so I can write the 5th book. I still haven't come up with a title for it yet, but I've got about 35 poems lined up that I want to use. And brother, I'm telling you, man, this is some of my best work so far. I'm really impressed with this, because the way I'm able to talk about faith, talk about some things that's going on, you know what I mean, around the world, in this country. I'm really impressed with this one. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So,
Okay.
but I need a residency to finish it off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, man. Okay. We'll be standing by, and I know I'm gonna be standing by, locked and loaded. Ready to further promote whatever.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate it.
Folks need to know about. They need to hear, information that's presented that's going to potentially add significant value to them, unbeknownst to them, right? That's what a lot of these this real pulling from real memories and experiences do, because again, you're listening to someone, you're watching someone who has truly been there, done that, truly experienced something good, bad, or indifferent, and can now share that lived experience. And more times than not, I hear from people all the time, like, oh man, I can definitely relate to that. Or I experienced the same or similar thing, but I did not know that you could use that type of resource to overcome, to get through, or what have you. Or you could use that type of resource to do more of what you're doing, especially if it's something positive, in nature, right? So just to see people have those little light bulbs go off, or those epiphanies go off when they listen to the the Nathaniel Terrells of the world, I just love it, and I find so much gratification from that personally. So man, hey, keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna go ahead and get you out of here, man. I appreciate you coming through and sharing this information. I want to make sure I have all the titles right, or what have you. I know I purchased my 2 books from Amazon of yours, so I'm gonna make sure all of that information is in the description so folks can go and get a copy. And
yes, sir.
and follow you on social media.
You won't be disappointed. I promise you. You won't be disappointed.
Okay. All right. I love it, man. Hey, thanks again for stopping by, Nathaniel. Hey, thanks everyone for tuning in again to another episode. Like this video and any other recording that may resonate with you, leave a comment and share, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, please. The Life Writing Podcast is another way we creatively inform and inspire, helping people write the lives they desire. Take care.